What's happening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unparalleled Sports Talk with your host, Kwame Fisher-Jones. As always, I am him. And the talk at All-Star Weekend, NBA All-Star Weekend, was who was going to be the new face or the next face of the NBA. And it got me to thinking, usually the most popular player or the most recognizable face is often not on the best team in the NBA. So I felt like the question shouldn't be who's the next face of the NBA, who's the next team? Because no one, if you talk to most people around the NBA and if you follow what's going on television, what people are talking about, no one is really gung ho about the Denver Nuggets. No one believes that the Nuggets are going to go in and repeat as NBA champions. At least I don't, and most people you hear don't. But the big question is when you have teams that win one shot deals, win top championships, usually through the course of the NBA, whether going back to the 70s with the Supersonics and the Bullets, and then the 80s, you had the Sixers win one title. And then in the 90s, although that was run by the Bulls, the Houston Rockets didn't kind of win two NBA titles in that realm. And then so forth and so on in the 2000s. You had the Mavericks win a title. You usually have a one-off team. You have an era in the NBA or a stretch in the NBA where you have a team win one title, and then you have a dynasty kind of jump up or a perennial powerhouse kind of jump up. And the Western Conference right now is more in position than the Eastern Conference to present those two teams. But the two teams in the Western Conference that are leading the pack are the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Oklahoma City Thunder. And are they for real? And what's the definition of for real? Like, what are we saying is qualifies as for real? Can the Thunder win an NBA title? Can the Minnesota Timberwolves win an NBA title? And as far as facing the NBA, that's a story for another podcast and something we'll venture into another time. But when you talk about these two teams, specifically the Thunder and the Timberwolves, we don't know. I don't know. I'll be fully front honest with you. I do not believe the Timberwolves are for real. Even though, and in order to win anything in the NBA, in order to win NBA title, you're gonna have to beat three teams. Usually the most recent champion, which in this case is the Denver Nuggets, and you're gonna have to beat the two previous dynasties or the two previous headhunters or whatever you want to call them, and the Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers. In order to win anything in the Western Conference, you are going to have to beat more than likely two of those three, but you're definitely going to have to beat at least one. So before you can say anybody is quote for real or a title contender, specifically the Thunder and the Timberwolves, you got to look at their record against the big three: the defending champion, the Lakers, and the Warriors. Well, Oklahoma City Thunder, the Thunderbolts, whatever you want to call them, 7-4, but they're 1-2 against the Lakers. That gives you cause for pause. But I'll get to the Thunder in a minute. The reason why I don't believe in the Timberwolves, who are 5-0 against, and based on that metric, they're killing it. They're 5-0. But the reason I don't believe in Minnesota, it ain't because of Anthony Edwards, who I believe is a monster, who qualifies the next big face if he wasn't stuck in the albatross known as Minnesota. It's not even because of Karl-Anthony Towns. And it's not because of their immaturity as a team. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I don't believe in the Minnesota Timberwolves is one, Chris Finch. I don't believe in their coach. Chris Finch is not a guy that I believe has the ability to direct the ship when things be sinking or the things are lost at sea. It reminds me, you take back a moment and you go back to the game against the Charlotte Hornets where Karl-Anthony Towns decided to score a lot of points and said, win the game, be damned. And the Hornets lost that game. What type of head coach can't command the respect of his troops to know that that's not the direction they want to go? What type of head coach can't get the focus of these guys at this critical moment? Last season, they had a losing record against sub 500 teams. If they had a winning record, even a 500 record against sub 500 teams, the Timberwolves probably would have been a top 4 seed. This year, they have a better record against sub 500 teams, but they still have those moments of immaturity. And I just can't, I don't understand how a team cannot have veterans stand tall. And it's like a team that's look, bottom line is Mark Jackson should be coaching that team, not a lifelong assistant. And that's going to be, if Mark Jackson was coaching the Minnesota Timberwolves, if Mark Jackson was specifically coaching Karl-Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards, they would legitimately be a title contender. And as we sit right now today, they're not. They're just a team occupying the number 1 seed. They're just a team that no one believes in. And as much as no one believed in Denver last year, Denver had a reigning MVP, back-to-back MVP in Jokic. They had one of the top perimeter players prior to his injury, and who was shaping down a foreman who played a lights-out series in Jamal Murray. But they also had one heck of a coach, one I don't want to say dominant coach, but a coach that was willing to take the shots for them. A guy that was in front of the media, in front of the microphones, willing to pump his team up. No one believes in Chris Finch. No one believes Finch can do that. So before we can crown them or even anoint them or even pay attention to them, they got to get that lifelong assistant off the sidelines. And I've said it once in the podcast. I'm gonna say it again. This team should be coached by Mark Jackson. Point blank. Period. PBP. So now venture to the other side. And this is a tough question. Are the Oklahoma City Thunder? At first glance, you just, it's the baby blue. It's the baby blue unis or the royal blue. Like what, it's the gas station logo. It's the gorilla slash dog slash Bigfoot Sasquatch when they're the Thunder. I don't know how the two correlate with one another. And I'm sure they got a story behind it, but it just makes you go, makes your neck. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Makes your neck. It's like, I don't know. And it's so much unprovenness of the squad. And yes, I know unprovenness is not a word, but then you really, the question isn't Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Shea is going to be, Shea is going to carry the team. I mean, he's going to get them out of the first round. He's good enough at this stage of his career to beat a team in the first round. But what about the second round? When the focus is the whole team you're playing's focus is one job, to stop Shea. When the focus of the organization, or the focus of the opposing team is to stand up and stop Shea Gilgeous-Alexander from being a monster on the court. Who's going to pick up the flag when he's going 5 for 14 or 5 for 16, even 5 for 21? And OKC, more than anyone else, knows the importance of that second guy, that guy that can pick up the flag, the guy that can hold it down when number one is doing everything he can, but it just ain't happening, or it is happening and it's not enough. When you had the Western Conference runs and the lockout shortened season, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook team, you needed Harden to step up big and make those plays. He didn't do it. And you wound up losing the title. So now you got to wonder if this team is legitimately title contender. And it starts with who's going to be their second in command. We know it ain't going to be Chet. Like stop. And I know you diehards out there going to try to. It ain't going to be Chet Holmgren. We know that, number one. It ain't going to be Chet Holmgren. And they made the trade for Gordon Hayward, who next to Bradley Beal is the most oft-injured, soft tissue injury-prone cat I've ever met. And you guys are more than you guys as a city know that second dude is important. So, I mean, realistically, from Russ being the second in command to KD, but on the opposing side, as a fan base, do you not shudder when you hear the phrase Game 6 Clay? Because he was Klay Thompson before he rolled up in OKC. And then he became Game 6 Clay. Then he became a monster. So it's going to come down to who's going to give you those critical moments and those critical points and the critical junctures of the game. And it's not going to be someone that is famous right now, where he's not going to be a household name outside of OKC. And in full disclosure, before the season started, I had no idea that Jalen with an E, Williams, was that nice. I had no idea that he was a guy that the team could possibly depend on to get minutes, get buckets. I didn't know he shot 45% from the three going into I didn't see that coming. I didn't know that he would give you 28 against the Warriors and the Clippers. Or excuse me, 28 against the Warriors and the Lakers. But can Jalen with an E be that second in banana? Can he be that second dude? Can he pick up the flag when Shea's not rolling? I don't know. So it's a tough question. It's easy. Look, I'm supposed to get up here and take a definitive stance and say no, Oklahoma City can't run, or say yes, they can do it. But I don't know. They're deep. They're a deep team. They're a very deep team. They've got a lot of athletes. They can get out and defend. They don't. Chet Holmgren at this point is a luxury. Next year, he can be a guy that they can depend on. But this season, right now, as they sit, the number 2 seed, are they a legitimate? Are they as good as their record suggests? Are they as good as 7-4 against Denver, Golden State, and your Lakers? The last 3 Western Conference representatives for the NBA title. I say yes. My instincts say yes. I think they're good enough this year to sneak up on a team, provided the Clippers do what they do and have injury problems. The Lakers do what they do and get tired. Golden State runs out of fumes towards the end. I think the Oklahoma City Thunder can be the last team standing. And then we can shift from talking about who's the face of the NBA to who's the new team of the NBA. And we don't have to hear any more about small markets because you have Wembanyama in San Antonio, you got Giannis in Milwaukee, and you'll have Shea in OKC. But we'll find out early in these playoffs because in the first round, you're going to need Jalen Williams to step up. In the first round, he's going to have he's going to have to put up career high numbers. And those numbers are going to have to go from career high to the new standard for him. Guys are going to have to play their roles and be superstars. Check that. Hall of Famers in their roles. Guys like Lou Dortz is going to have to be a Hall of Fame defender, which he's already there. He's one of the best defensive wing players in the league. Chet is going to have to be a Hall of Fame energy guy. Think Cliff Levingston. I know I'm dating myself for a lot of you cats out there, but think Cliff Levingston, Scott Williams. And Shea's going to have to put up monster numbers and I'm not talking about 45. I'm talking about AI 2001 50-point games in order to lead this team. But they can do it. They've got the horses to do it. And they play with a certain youthful arrogance that you only see with young guys that know they're nice. Young guys that know, yeah, I'm the baddest dude in the building right now. I'm the best ball player to poop between 2 shoes right now. Shout out Mr. Halstead. So All-Star Weekend is coming on. We ventured into who should be the face of the NBA. But I'm here to tell you the Oklahoma City Thunder are the new team of the NBA. And that's a scary sight for somebody who is not a Thunder fan. That's it for this episode of Unparalleled Sports Talk. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you like, share, subscribe, do whatever your podcast platform allows you to do. And as always, we appreciate your time and year. You be easy.